Um, Hello guys, I've got another guest for you today. It's Lisa Hardy. Um, so cheers for coming on, Lisa. And let's talk about everyone. But do you want to introduce yourself first?
Sure thing. So I am a freelance TV sports producer, but I do various things. So whether it's TV or sponsorship content, or branded content, feature films, and social content as well. So all in sport, mainly in F1, but I do lots of other sports as well. But F1 is definitely my passion, as well as taking up most of my career time. So that's me.
Nice. So when did the love for Formula One first start for you?
It basically kind of was forced upon me. I think sometimes you grow up if you grow up in a sporting household, you either go down a football route, a rugby route, cricket, whatever it may be. And in my house, it was definitely motorsport. My dad is a massive motorsport fan, always has been. And I think, I came along and they didn't want to stop going to Formula Ones and MotoGPs and Le Mans. And so I just kind of tagged along with them. I didn't have a choice as a kid, but actually it was something that from a young age, it made me really close with my dad, because it was something that we would do together. And I kind of was, I wasn't really a girly girl. I'd never got Barbies. I never had, those kind of things. I had Scalextrics and I had kind of toy cars and things. And every year for Christmas, actually, we would get more and more Scalextrics. Up until the point where, it'd be going all around the house and my male cousins would come over and I'd be better than them at it. And so it kind of started from there. And then Mum and Dad would often throw F1 parties, because typically the Australian Grand Prix would always be the season opener, as it is now.
Yeah.
And so it would be in the middle of the night and they'd have all their friends over, and, at kind of 11 o'clock or whatever, I'd have to go to bed, and then they would stay up partying and then watch the first race of the season. And I'd wake up in the morning and I was all excited about who had won. And so it definitely came from my parents. And, I was really lucky as a kid. We got to travel around a lot of Europe going to F1s, whether that would be in the Easter holidays, we would always go to Imola. And then in the summer holidays, we would try and go to the German Grand Prix, or we'd always end up in Spa. And so, it kind of came from a passion for my family, but then I definitely caught the bug of it, which is quite an easy thing to do, as you know.
Yes. So, what do you think about, first of all, how's lockdown been for you? Have you been safe and all that?
Yeah, you know what? Lockdown's been tricky. I think it's been tricky for everyone, especially people who are more vulnerable. And I felt for everyone. I think I'm quite lucky in. Can you hear that dog? He is honestly,
yes.
Hendrix. I'm so sorry. He's been getting old, and now he knows that we're up to something, so he wants to be involved. So I'm quite lucky. I've got quite a positive outlook on things, and I always make the best of a bad situation. But I have really, I've seen quite a lot of people struggling through this, whether they've lost their jobs or they've lost, a family member, and it's been a really tough time, and lots of my friends have been homeschooling their kids, and it's been, everyone's working from home or working on top of each other. And so it's been a testing time. And I really hope that we're over the worst of it now. And sports finally coming back, and, sort of pubs and hairdressers and gyms are opening. So I do hope we're over the worst of it. I just hope that people can now be sensible for the next couple of months, and we'll see where we end up. But it's been a testing time. I think it's been character building. That's how I like to put it.
Yeah.
How have you been? Have you struggled with it, or have you had lots of support?
Well, I've actually, for me, obviously, I I can't go to the gym,
Mhm.
which is sort of not very good. But also my back, I can't have my back treatment, so I get a lot of back pain
Yeah.
lately. But on a positive note, my YouTube channel has just been growing, like growing
Yeah.
and growing.
Have time to do it, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it for 4 years, as I said earlier, and I really love it, and now, I'm just glad the Formula One is back.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives, I think sport just, I mean, I've always been a fan of sport because it gives not only fans, but it gives the participants something. It teaches you so many things in life. And it has been a massive morale booster, I think, to have, first of all, football came back, and then cricket came back, and then the F1 returned. And, it just, I think it makes people feel like normality is coming back, when they've got their Sunday afternoons, they know what they're going to be doing, and that's going to be watching the Formula One. So yeah, it's great to see it back.
Yeah, I mean, I, I mean, were you at the first couple of races, or did you work?
No, so being freelance now, I don't go to as many races. When I worked at Sky Sports F1 for 4 seasons, and I would probably do 12 races a season, 12 to 15 races a season. But yeah, I haven't, they have really stripped down on the crew going to the Formula Ones now, obviously because of safety. So yeah, I've been watching at home like everyone else of the first two.
So what do you think about them?
I mean, you know what? I found it quite bizarre watching a sport with no crowd. I've watched football, and I watched the England cricket at the weekend as well. But it's very strange watching a sport that has such a huge fan following to have no fans there. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the racing, it's been great. It's kind of exceeded expectations. It's great to see the midfield teams kind of getting in the mix a bit more, and not just always. I know we had a Mercedes 1-2 at the weekend, but not just seeing that kind of Mercedes dominance that we've seen in the past couple of years. I really think if we can get more than kind of the 10 races that are proposed at the moment, if we can get about 15 races, I think we're in for a really good season.
Yeah, like we have to have a minimum of 8, don't we? I mean, to have a valid championship, don't we?
Yeah,
So
and they've just announced Mugello, which is amazing. So yeah, I hope that it does go on to sort of October, November time, but who knows at the moment.
yeah, so because talking about the Formula One, I mean, there's been a lot of teams struggling, haven't there? Like
Yeah,
financially.
yeah, and that was actually a real worry to see, because you don't want to have a championship where teams are crashing out because of a world pandemic. I think something needs to be done, and I don't know how. I mean, I don't have a solution for it, but something needs to be done to stop these teams, especially a team like Williams and McLaren that have been in F1. They're the foundations of the sport, and to see them potentially not be in it due to financial reasons would be a massive shame.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, whether it's some, huge investment from someone, or possibly would you have a public owned team? I don't know. Like, something needs to be done to stop them going out of business.
So what do you think about the car? I mean, obviously I've got a great affinity to Williams. I mean,
I,
not that.
I couldn't guess from what you're wearing today.
Well, yeah,
Why do you
but
have an affinity to them?
because when I was, because I started off doing for like after uni, I set up my own translation
Oh
business
wow.
business sort of only like because I still get benefits. I can earn minimum wage 16 hours a 16
Right.
hours 16 hours a week, but you know, it's better than nothing. But you know, so I set my own um, translations of small business German, English, English, German actually. So if you ever need any translate,
Well, keep that in mind for any interviews I do, definitely.
yeah, because I mean, but you know, so I wrote to all the Formula One teams
Yeah.
because I always wanted to get my love for Formula One and my business
Yeah.
um, sort of connected. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I always wanted to do that. So out of all the teams,
Yeah.
Claire was the only one to respond.
Oh, wow.
Not only did she not only did she sort of write me a letter back, she also said like she also organised me a trip to the factory.
Wow. And were you able to go? Did you go?
Yes, I did.
Oh my God, it's great there, isn't it?
Have you been there?
Yeah, we've been quite lucky. We've been there a few times, and again, Williams are such a inviting team. You know, whenever I've wanted to do a shoot there or conduct interviews, you know, I've taken drivers there, but also we've taken esports drivers there for interviews, and they've been so accommodating. And their setup there is lovely. It does feel like very family orientated.
Yes,
I can see the grass, like the pit stop that's made out of
yeah,
hedges.
yes.
I love that. I
I
want one
love
of.
I love that as well.
Yeah, and there's so much history there, you know, like the beautiful cars that they have there. You walk around and you just think, wow, like, you know, you really want to see them succeed again because they were such a successful team.
I mean, like, I went on the 30th of October, two, 2013.
Oh wow,
Uh,
okay.
um, unfortunately, Claire wasn't there.
Race probably. She's a very busy lady.
So I've been trying to, like, you know, because I actually, tweet out the list.
Yeah.
That the
Oh, is she on
the
the hit list?
no, I actually extended that list now, and
Oh, okay, fine.
because I forgot, you know, to be honest with you, I didn't think anyone would respond to the first one, so that's why I didn't actually write, write all of
Everything
the
down.
everybody down,
Yeah.
and plus the fact you can't do that on Twitter, can you? So
No. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't say too much on there, which I quite like, to be honest.
so yeah, but I went, you know, see, you know, I would really love to meet her one day, and you know, in person, as
Yeah.
as I would love to meet all of you, like, because you know,
Well,
because
the way you're going, you know, the way you're going, you probably will, because, you know, if you keep going on this kind of upward trajectory, then perhaps, yeah, everyone's paths will cross one day.
because it really means a lot to me. Like, I don't take any of this for granted. You know, and like you take to me, and Mark said to me,
Yeah, and Jess, I saw, who's now moved to Autosport, I think, from, yeah.
yes. Um, did you, how did you get to know about me? Just out of interest.
About you?
Yeah.
Oh, just from your tweet. Which, you know, is kind of the great thing about social media. I think sometimes social media can be quite a bad place to be on, especially at the moment with so many things going on. But I think it's such a powerful tool, especially, you know, when you're working in media, that's where I find all my news and all my kind of gossip, as it were. But yeah, I saw your tweet, and then you can look someone up, and then you can look at their LinkedIn or whatever, and it's, you know, it's a great way to reach out to people that you wouldn't normally be able to reach out to.
Because you know, because originally, you know, because I did the first ever like the first ever you know, F1 celebrity I had on was actually Matt.
Oh, okay, great. I've worked with Matt before, yeah, a few times. He was a presenter for one of my shows, and yeah, he's great. His knowledge is brilliant. And I'm so pleased that he's got a, you know, he had a shot at commentary last week on F2, and yeah, so that was really good. It's really good to see people kind of getting opportunities, and I hope it goes to show that hard work and persistence really pays off.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, you know, because I couldn't believe when Matt said, you know, because I just messaged Matt out the blue, and I said, would you mind, I sort of said, would you mind, like, I know you're probably going to tell me to get lost, but I really love WTF1, and you know, and he said yes, you know, and so and then I had Jess on as well.
Yeah.
And as I said, it really means a great deal to me. I'm like, now I haven't got any anxiety anymore.
Great. That's really good. That's really good to hear.
And you know, it just helped me out massively. So you know, the F1 season.
Yeah.
How long do you reckon it's going to go on for? Because
well, I would hope that I mean, who knows? I can't see any Formula One taking place in America or South America this year, just because of the way the pandemic is. But, you know, I think Europe has enough tracks to have a full 15 race season, whether they return to tracks that they're already racing on, whether they open up old tracks again, who knows? But yeah, I don't see the need for it this year to travel all around the world, which is a massive shame, I know, for those fans that are in those countries. But at the same time, I think to keep it, to have as many races as they want, they have to keep it as safe as possible. So yeah, I mean, who knows? I'd like to see it go on until, hopefully we might get a race in Abu Dhabi maybe to have the season finale, as we have done in the past few years, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
I think they will get at least 14 races.
14, did you say?
Yeah. I mean, everyone wants to see that, don't they? At least 14.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
apart from Williams, do you have a favorite driver? Do you love Williams as a team, or do you are you just a F1 fan in general?
I used to. I mean, obviously, I'm a massive Michael Schumacher fan.
Oh, massive. Yeah. I was always a Schumacher fan over a Damon Hill fan, and obviously I then went on to work with Damon, so that was a bit awkward, and I love him to pieces. But yeah, I was always a Michael Schumacher fan.
Yeah, I mean, I used to watch him as a kid. I started watching Formula One at an early age. But you know, I think what he did for, like, what he achieved is remarkable. You know, but Lewis Hamilton is gonna I think he's gonna break it this season.
I do as well. I think he'll match his record this season, definitely. And then I don't think he'll want to leave it at that. You know, he'll want to get clear of it by 1 or 2 championships. So who knows? But Michael Schumacher he's cemented himself as the greatest, one of the greatest. So
Yeah.
it's what now, it's just now what Lewis can do to kind of chip away at that, all those records that he still holds.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't hold many anymore, does he?
No.
But it's like because I can remember Lewis's first race. I actually had kidney stones. I was actually in hospital with kidney stones, and I said to the doctor and the nurses, I said, because I got admitted to hospital on the Thursday. But I said I need to be out of here by Saturday to watch a race on because and then the doctor
that was your priority. I have to get out of hospital even though I'm in excruciating pain because I have to watch this race. That's great.
Yes, I mean it was absolutely mad. But in the end, the doctors actually and the nurses actually put some money on the little TVs that you have on the
in the hospital, yeah.
On the hospital. They actually put enough money on it so I could watch the race.
That's so nice.
That and then I mean,
it's those stories as well. Those memories will stick with you forever.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love Formula One. So, what can you remember your very very first Formula One race?
Yeah, I think to go to or to watch.
Both.
Okay, I think to watch I was probably too young, but to go to I was actually really lucky. The first Grand Prix I can remember that I went to was Donington, but it was the European Grand Prix, but it was held at Donington in 1993, which then turned out to be Ayrton Senna's best, arguably his best race in the wet, maybe apart from one in Monaco. But that was amazing. And I think at the time, I was so young, I sort of probably didn't appreciate it. But again, it was just a weekend away with my dad and we camped. And I remember it was Easter weekend because I had Easter eggs in the tent on the Sunday morning. And so one, I was so happy to be at Donington, and two, I was so happy that I had cream eggs to eat. So but I always remember just standing in the absolute pouring rain and just like running to and from the fence and back to dad and, telling him how excited I was. And it was just so loud. And we ran down to the podium when it was all over and watched them up on the podium. And it was just brilliant. And then the Monday morning, we just got stuck in all the mud because the rain was just so heavy. But yeah, I always remember those times. Like I always look back on that so fondly because at the time you don't realize what's kind of unfolding in front of you. And then when you go on to work in a sport and people talk about that weekend as, a moment in history, you can say that you were there, and that's always quite cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been to one Grand Prix.
Okay,
the 2003 Hockenheim one.
Okay.
What?
You remember?
Yeah. Montoya won.
He is a colourful character.
Yeah. Have you met him?
I've not met him, no.
What I can remember was like Kimi Räikkönen lost the car in the first. I can't even remember what the corner's called now. But anyway, he bent it, and then Michael was doing. He fell down to 6th because he had a he had a puncture or something.
So your hero who'd gone to see got a puncture.
Yes. So, and so that was sort of the only Grand Prix that I've been to.
So far,
Pardon?
the only Grand Prix you've been to so far. I'm sure you'll get to go to some more in the future.
Yeah, well, obviously, because I would love to go, but obviously, because I'm in a wheelchair, I would have to, it would have to be like organized, like I would love to go, and I would love to do a piece for Sky or have a shoot or something because all the all the diversity that's going that's going down at the minute.
Yeah.
I think Formula One needs to know that how much they helped, like
Yeah.
not only me but sort of
So many others, I'm sure.
yes.
Yeah.
Like,
And actually, I think as a sport, F1 is pretty accessible for wheelchair users, people who have difficulty walking. I've been to so many tracks where they have adapted the track so well, and I think that's great because they realise that they have such a diverse fan base, and so they do try to cater for them.
yeah, I mean, it's like as I said, it was I was I only tweeted that tweet. When was it?
Yeah, a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago.
Couple of weeks ago. And it made my it made my day. It really has.
Yeah.
So
You could pick an F1 to go to. What one would you go to? Is there like a number one on your hit list?
if I could go to any Grand Prix, I would probably say Silverstone.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's great. Why?
because it's where it all began, isn't it? It's like where it all started.
And I think there's I mean, I'm super happy that there's 2 races there in a couple of weeks' time. But I just think the track's amazing, but there's nothing quite like the British Grand Prix. And I know I can say that because I'm British, but I just think the fans are brilliant. It's it's such an amazing atmosphere and usually provides a really good race. But it's all the things that go on around it. So you go there on the Wednesday and you set up, and then it's sort of fans day on the Thursday, and then it's just great. There's always bands playing, and then the red arrows come, and it's a real carnival atmosphere. And I think that that's one thing that we do get right in Britain is big sporting events.
Yep.
Silverstone is definitely up there. I mean, I would recommend it to anyone, and it is a little bit pricey, but if you can go for a 3-day weekend, it is a holiday, and it's brilliant fun.
Yeah, I mean,
everyone, it caters for families and for couples and for groups of friends, and it's just brilliant. And the track invasion at the end is always just great.
I still see every time I see watch an interview on on YouTube or whatever, on Sky or whatever. Every time Clea remembers that track, that track invasion when Nigel Mansell was.
My dad was at that. He was showing me footage of that the other day. Yeah, it's just madness.
Yeah. So
I was at Silverstone. One of my races I went to as a fan. I was there in '99, and we were on Stowe Corner when Schumacher had his crash, and it was just awful because you never know what happens in a crash, and they always sometimes they crash so quickly that you always think the worst because it is such a dangerous sport. And he got airlifted away, and the race carried on. But then afterwards, again, everyone invaded, and we went to the crash site, and we were by the tyre wall, and a kid jumped into the tyre wall and basically pulled out a piece of Ferrari about this big and was like, I'm taking that home. And I mean, God knows if he still has it or if it's on eBay somewhere or whatever. But I mean, I don't think that would happen in this day and age, because they would probably go and get it back for, so other teams didn't take it. But yeah, I just thought as a piece of sporting memorabilia, that is a pretty good piece to have.
Yep. I mean, I absolutely, I saw that race. I was absolutely, I was shocked.
Yeah.
But when you consider it, like in 308 races he had,
Yeah.
he only in his racing career,
Yeah.
like he only broke his leg, and just after he finished his second stint at Mercedes, he goes to has a skiing accident.
No, it's so tragic. It's really tragic. But I think it's lovely that his son is now carrying on the legacy, and he's a great racer in his own right, and that could be another chapter in the Schumacher dynasty. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there as well.
Do you reckon he's going to get into Formula One?
I think so. I think he's talented enough. But I worry about the people that come into Formula One with their father's names. And I've spoken quite a lot to Damon Hill about this. Nico Rosberg, was quite outspoken about you sort of follow in the footsteps of your famous dad, especially if they've been a world champion. And especially if your dad is Michael Schumacher. I mean, it's almost added pressure, because not only do you have to be good, you have to silence the critics that say you're only there because of your name. And I think Bruno Senna was the same, although he's Ayrton's nephew. It's kind of a chalice around your neck, really, because you've got to not embarrass the family name, for one, but two, like I say, you've got to prove everyone wrong, because people do want you to fail.
Exactly. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in his shoes. Like, I mean, I actually did a video, and I as much as this might sound absolutely weird, but
the better, it's fine.
I don't want him to go to Ferrari.
Yeah. Why not?
I don't want him.
Williams, don't you?
Nah, he can go anywhere but Ferrari. Because I believe, that if he goes to Ferrari, he's gonna have all the. I mean, he's got pressure as it is.
Yeah.
But
and added pressure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and I want your opinion on the next thing I'm gonna say is: Do you think Sebastian Vettel has failed at Ferrari?
No, I won't hear a bad word said against Seb. I love him. No, I don't think he's failed. I think as most drivers do, he wanted to drive for Ferrari because he has this romantic vision of, as every kid, you want to own a Ferrari, you want to drive for Formula One. What's better than driving an F1 car that is a Ferrari? And so I think, he started off really strong. I think it was his second race. They won in Malaysia, and it was mad, and everyone thought this is the start of the Ferrari revival. And sadly, he just hasn't, in my opinion, I don't think he's had a car to match his talent. And unfortunately, he's been driving in a car the last 4 years against the Mercedes car that has probably been the best car that Formula One has ever seen. And yeah, I don't think he's failed in any way. I just think perhaps, it's a combination of things. And I was really shocked, actually, that when he announced he was leaving, but then I was even more shocked when the reports came out last weekend that he kind of wasn't really offered a contract there. I always thought it was his decision to leave. And then he came out in the first round this year and said, actually, there wasn't really a negotiation to have. So Yeah, I don't know what's gone on there, and I think maybe time will tell, and maybe next year we'll find out the real truth as to what has gone on behind the scenes. But yeah, I don't think he's failed. I mean, would Lewis Hamilton in that car have won championships against that Mercedes? Probably not.
Yeah, I think he was always bound to have a very difficult time because from what I know is he's best. Michael Schumacher is one of his closest friends actually, and from as far as I know is that Seb actually phoned Michael's manager, Sabine Kim, yeah, and actually had a chat about whether he should join Ferrari, and I just think too much was expected of him by the German media.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's always going to be pressure where, you've left a team that you've won 4 world championships with, and then it's kind of like, okay, well, what are you going to deliver now? But like I say, I think it's, wrong place, wrong time for him. But what he does next year, we'll see. I mean, Valtteri's now just signed a contract with Mercedes, so there's no seat there for him. I can't see him going anywhere else next year, and I think that would be a massive, massive shame.
I reckon he's going to go back to Red Bull.
I think Christian Horner has already said no to that, though. I think he sort of said at the weekend, 1, they can't afford him, and 2, I don't think Red Bull are a team that would go backwards like that. And again, they're building that team around Max, rightly so. Alex Albon actually is such an incredible talent. I mean, we've seen in the first couple of races what he can do, and at the end of last year, and he fits the Red Bull brand really well. And, Red Bull have their own young driver program, which has been very successful. So I don't see why they would put Sebastian back in that team, especially alongside Max. Can you imagine? I mean, I would love to see that, but can you imagine the fireworks? Because Max would have number 1 status. I think he'd have to. But I don't know. Would Seb go to a team and play second fiddle to someone that is nearly 10 years younger than him?
I don't think so.
No. He didn't like it that year that Ricciardo was in the same team as him and would often out-qualify him, outscore him on a Sunday. He doesn't like it, and that's to his testament, and that's how he's become a champion. But But then would you see Lewis Hamilton and Seb in the same team together? I mean, that would be a mad dynamic.
That would be fireworks.
That would be fireworks. And again, why would Mercedes take a risk like that when you have a guy in your car who is winning championships? And not only that, he's smashing records, and he's bringing in sponsors, and he's doing all the right things. And then in Valtteri, you have a perfect partner for him. So, you don't want to upset the apple cart.
Do you reckon he could, Bottas could win the championship this year?
Who, sorry?
Bottas.
I don't know. It's weird because arguably Nico Rosberg might be out of line here, but arguably Nico Rosberg only won the year he won because Lewis had that awful time. He had a bad run, didn't he? And he had a DNF at Silverstone, and then I think the championship flipped, and then from there he was just always on the back foot.
Yeah.
But they were so close to the very end. But I think, I don't know, I've done quite a lot of filming with Valtteri, and I think he is a really fierce competitor, and he's very focused, and he's very dedicated. But there's just something about Lewis. He, and perhaps Valtteri. I mean, if you look at sort of his personal life as well, he has other distractions, and his training and relationship and all those things. Lewis is very F1, F1, F1. Occasional fashion show, F1, F1. It's kind of that like sheer focus on one thing. And yeah, I don't see that with many of the other drivers.
Yeah. So how, well, who do you reckon is going to get the Mercedes seat if
Well, I think they've just signed Valtteri this week, so I
yeah.
think he's been confirmed now. So that's no surprise really.
Yeah. What about if Lewis leaves?
If Lewis leaves, I mean, if he retires, do you mean, or if he goes elsewhere?
If he retires.
You know what? I think they would have someone like an Esteban Ocon. Toto Wolff, I think, is his manager. He is a great talent. He fits Mercedes. They like someone that fits their brand. Charles Leclerc, I think, would have gone there, but now he's locked in at Ferrari for so long. Same at Max at Red Bull. So, yeah, But then there's all talk of, are Mercedes even going to be around in F1 in a couple of years? Is Toto Wolff going to be around? Is he going to jump ship to Aston Martin? There's all these things going on, which do make it quite exciting. But I think Lewis will see out his career at Mercedes. I don't see him even doing a year at Ferrari. Why would he?
Yeah, I mean, he's got enough money. He's got other interests. So
yeah.
I mean, final question: Do you reckon McLaren are going to get a win this season?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I think Carlos will be wanting to leave them on a high. I think he is still trying, he's signed his Ferrari seat now, but he needs to, it's an odd one, I think, when a driver starts a season having already signed for another team next season. You think, is the team going to shut them out? Are they not going to try? But I think he's son of an amazing motor racing driver. So he has a lot to prove. He also, their ego will come in. He'll want to beat his teammate. But then we've seen what a talent Lando is. And so I think the combination of those two, the fact that they've both already had podiums in that car at the end of last year and beginning of this year, I mean, the car's quick. So, yeah, I can't see why they wouldn't have a podium. I don't know, where it will come. I don't know what track is going to suit them the best. But, I definitely see them. I see them having a win, 100%. And I want them to win. I'd love to see a McLaren driver win.
Take
things up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, very final question. Well, and I've asked the same question to
everyone.
F1 Elvis, actually.
Okay, great. Okay.
I said, I don't understand why Renault have decided to bring back Alonso.
Okay. Who would you rather see there?
I would have put in Vettel.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think Vettel will be more expensive than Alonso. Alonso knows the team. He's obviously won championships with them. I think, again, perhaps they're looking at it with rose-tinted glasses. I don't know how easy he is to work with. But at the end of the day, he's a huge name, and wherever he goes, people talk about it. Sponsors will come in, which will be much needed financial help for the team. I think Esteban will learn a lot from him. And yeah, it's surprising he signed a 2-year deal. I would have maybe put him on a 1-year deal, but I think to have a double world champion back in the sport is great. However, I do feel sorry for some of the F2 drivers that, you're striving to become an F1 driver, and then they bring someone back that, has had a year or two out. So it's kind of like, well, why are we trying to win this F2 championship to get an F1 seat and there's no F1 seats available? But, people have to be patient in this sport. So I think it is an interesting move. But again, it's got people talking, and it's got people talking about a midfield team as opposed to just the top 3. So it's already, paying its dividends.
So yeah, but unless Renault have got some magic, um, some magic booster button or something.
And if they do, I think Daniel Ricciardo will be very upset next year.
Yeah, I mean, there must be a reason why, um, there must be a reason why Daniel left Renault.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think he likes to take a risk. It was a risk when he left Red Bull, and perhaps he's just not seeing the results that he wanted with Renault. And I think McLaren, they possibly just suit him better, and they probably offered him a contract. And also bearing in mind, all of that happened so quickly because suddenly Vettel was on the market and he was out, and so agents and teams had to talk really quickly and discuss. And so yeah, I don't know if I mean, time will tell if he's made the right decision, but I hope he has.
Yeah. So I'm aware that you need to go. You're for dinner.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. I mean, if you have any more questions, please fire away. I don't need to go out for another half an hour, so.
No, so finally, do you go to Formula E races as well?
No,
Or
I've been to the oh, sorry, Hendrix wants to say hello. Are you coming up? No. I went to the one in London when it was in London a few years ago, just as a spectator, to see kind of what all the fuss was about. But yeah, I haven't actually worked on the Formula E, or I haven't been to any of them.
Yeah. So what do you think about what do you think about Formula E?
I mean, it's an interesting concept, but for me personally, I think I've been spoiled because I've been around F1 personally and professionally, and so I prefer it. And also, there's other sports that I have interest in over Formula E.
Yeah.
But again, I think if from a racing driver's point of view, F1 is so competitive and so hard and very expensive to get into. So, if you're a competitive racing driver, Formula E is definitely a good route to go.
Yeah. So how
Do you like it? Are you a Formula E fan? Not really.
Not really. I think.
You're an F1 purist. That's why.
Yeah.
Nothing will convert you away from it.
Not. Not for a long while yet. Anyway.
Yeah.
But when can you, how did you get working for Formula One and everything anyway? Because
so I started my career at Sky Sports as a runner.
What is a runner?
A runner, I essentially made tea and did all the photocopying and worked all the overnight shifts that no one ever wants to work. And yeah, I started doing TV production there on a different team. I covered darts and snooker and speedway and British Superbikes. And then Sky signed the Formula One in the end of 2011. And the man, Martin Turner, who had originally given me my first day of work experience for Sky, was to become the new head of Formula One. And I wrote to him and I just said, look, I love Formula One. I have to be involved in this. I basically begged him for a job. And yeah, I had my interview and, I was so nervous in that interview. And yeah, they offered me a job on the F1 team, and I started that in January 2012. And Sky Sports, they'd never done Formula One before, and there was a lot of pressure to deliver something really good, which I think we did. Releasing kind of a dedicated F1 channel, and we were doing 6 live shows a weekend, and yeah, it was pure madness. But yeah, I started at the very bottom and worked my way up from there.
And now you don't do you work for yourself now, yeah?
Yeah. Which has its pros and cons. I miss the Sky team a lot. I think there's some really talented people there, and some of my best friends still work there. But yeah, I think change is always good, and it's nice to be my own boss.
That's
I've gone on to work with, I've worked with FOM, and then I've worked with Channel 4, and I've, Whisper, who do the Channel 4 coverage now. And so it's been nice to be able to do all different types of F1 with different teams.
yeah. For me, it's like for me. I know this lockdown has been absolute. It's been
Hard.
it's been hard, and the coronavirus has been absolutely devastating.
Mm-hmm.
But it has also given me opportunity, I think, because everybody's getting used to working with the likes of getting with the likes of video conferencing and
Yeah.
all that and now now I think if because I would love to sort of make it make it, do at least once I want to do something with Formula One related, whether that's but before it would be a lot harder because I can't travel that well, but
now you can do everything on Video Link, and it's great.
So if you ever need, if anybody ever needs anybody, you've got.
I would definitely keep you in mind, 100%.
Yeah, it's just been mad. Do you know what I mean? Like, honestly, I did not expect anyone to respond. Like, and even I don't know whether you know Natalie.
Yeah, Natalie Pinkham.
Yes.
Yeah, she's lovely. I've worked with her for many years.
Can you do me a favor and please tell her that because what it was quite funny actually, because even she responded to that tweet.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, Natalie's lovely, and she's got so many good stories to tell.
And I was like, yeah, of course you can come on my show, but are you because I didn't believe it was Natalie.
Yeah, that's just her. She's very genuine, and I'm sure that if she did reply to you, she'll make time. She is a mom and she does the F1, so she's very busy, but I'm sure if she'll make time, she will.
No, but what I'm saying is, we've already made a recording plan. We've already set a date and all that. But you know what?
Really good.
The thing about it is, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
But you just have to think positively, and positive things will happen. That's what I always say.
Yeah, so I'm very grateful for you making the time anyway. And I hope we stay in touch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And of course I will think of you if I need some translating, or if there's anything that I think that you would fit the bill for, because I think there's loads of things. If you have the F1 knowledge that you have, that might be invaluable. So yeah, I would definitely keep you in mind for future productions.
Yeah, as I said, I can't travel that easily, but we can always do something on Video Link, can't we?
Yes, we can. Where there's a will, there's a way.
That would be my dream. To be honest with you, even this unplanned chat thing, that came about because one of my friends, Mike from F1 Fanatics, check him out. I actually send you his channel link.
Okay.
In a minute, but we've done a lot of collaborations together.
Okay.
We always tend to get off topic. Like we
Yeah, I'm always like that with my friends or whoever.
um
When I chat with someone now, I'm always like, we need to talk about this, and then yeah, we go off topic.
and then because I said to him, well, I'm actually going to launch a podcast thing, and originally it was only like I was going to do it for the other YouTubers as well, but now I've done a couple of episodes with some great YouTubers. If you want to check them out.
Okay, yeah, send them over to me.
Yes, and but now I'm getting all these all these F1 celebrities all of a sudden.
Well, I'm glad I was included in your celebrities because I definitely am not one, but
Yeah, so if you ever happen to be in around the Midlands,
yeah,
anytime after lockdown, anywhere near Stafford, I would love to thank you in person.
Great, I'll pop in for a cup of tea.
Yes.
Great.
Or we go for a drink sometime.
That's even better.
What's your favorite drink?
Ooh, favorite alcoholic drink?
Yes.
Margarita, definitely.
Corona.
No, not a Corona. I actually don't drink beer, and yeah, but sales of Corona I think have gone right down in lockdown because I think people think it's associated with coronavirus.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
it's been
thanks for having me on. I've really enjoyed having a chat with you.
And keep in touch, yeah.
I definitely will.
And yeah, I mean, like as I said, I love Formula One, and I'm absolutely grateful to anyone, to everyone that's come on so far. And please
very
say,
genuine. So that's why people are coming
yeah.
on, because they, it's great to support someone, and it's great to see someone with so much passion for something. So yeah, I wish you all the best with everything.
Yeah, and please do tell Natalie that I'm actually real, and that I actually know that she's real now.
Yeah, she is real. Well,
Yeah.
Well, good that one as well.
All right.
All right, well, take care.
Take care, my love.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening.
I will do. Thank you. Bye.